Your car throws a warning light, stumbles between gears, or idles like it's on its last breath, and the shop wants hundreds just to tell you what's wrong. Here's the kicker. In most cases, nothing's actually broken. The system's just confused and begging for a reset. In this video, I'll show you 11 powerful reset tricks you can do at home, completely free, that can bring your car back to life in minutes. And don't miss the last one. It's a secret reset even veteran mechanics don't want you to know. Let's get started. Reset 11. TPS Sensor Reset. Ever press the gas and your car hesitates, almost like it's second-guessing your command? Or maybe you've noticed sudden jerks while cruising that make driving less smooth. These issues are often caused by the throttle position sensor falling out of sync. It's not usually a major failure. This happens after weak battery episodes, carbon buildup, or simply years of driving. The sensor stops reading the full range of your pedal movement, confusing the engine computer. The good news is you don't need a mechanic or expensive tools to fix it. A quick reset can get your throttle back in line. Here's how to reset the TPS. Insert the key and turn it to ON, but don't start the engine. Slowly press the gas pedal to the floor, hold briefly, then release. Turn the key back to off and wait about 10 seconds. Start the car and let it idle for a few minutes without touching the pedal. This simple reset retrains the sensor to understand your pedal's full sweep. Most drivers notice immediate improvement. Smoother acceleration, crisper throttle response, and less hesitation during takeoff. It feels like giving your car back the reflexes it had when it rolled off the lot. But if the problem isn't throttle hesitation, maybe your car stalls at stoplights or feels weak on power. The issue could be with the air coming into your engine. That leads us to the next reset. Reset 10, MAF Sensor Reset. Picture this. You're at a red light, the engine idles rough, and when it's time to go, the car stumbles before picking up speed. Or maybe your gas mileage has dropped and you can't figure out why. One of the most overlooked culprits is the mass airflow sensor. This little device sits right after your air filter and tells the engine computer how much air is coming in. When it gets dirty or misreads airflow, the engine gets the wrong fuel mix. That means stalling, hesitation, poor MPG, or even a stubborn check engine light. Resetting and cleaning it can bring your car back to life. Steps to reset the MAF sensor. Disconnect the negative battery cable and let the car sit for 15 minutes. Remove the MAF sensor. It's usually held in with 2 screws near the air filter. Spray the sensor wires with a proper MAF cleaner. Never touch them. Let it dry completely, reinstall it, and reconnect the battery. Start the engine and let it idle for several minutes so the ECU relearns airflow. Once reset, you'll notice smoother idle, restored fuel economy, and more consistent acceleration. It's a quick job that saves you from unnecessary trips to the shop. But if your dash is still glowing with warning lights, especially the ABS light, the next reset might be exactly what you need. Reset 9. ABS Light Reset. You're driving along, and suddenly the ABS warning light pops up on your dashboard. Your brakes still feel fine, but that glowing light makes you uneasy. Most drivers assume the worst, that the braking system is failing, but often the light sticks on because of a temporary glitch. Low brake fluid, a weak battery, or even a wheel speed sensor picking up a bit of dirt can trick the system. The car doesn't always clear the error on its own, so the light just stays there, making you think something's broken. In many cases, a simple reset is all it takes to clear the false alarm and restore confidence in your brakes. Steps to reset the ABS light. Turn the ignition completely off. Locate your ABS fuse in the fuse box and carefully remove it. Leave the fuse out for about 15 minutes to drain the stored memory. Reinsert the fuse, start the engine, and drive slowly for a short distance to let the system recalibrate. If the issue was just a glitch, the ABS light will disappear. Your braking system returns to normal, and you avoid an unnecessary trip to the mechanic. But if one warning light can glitch, imagine what happens when your car's entire brain gets confused. That's where the next reset comes in. Reset 8 ECU Hard Reset. Few things are more stressful than seeing your check engine light suddenly appear, your car slipping into limp mode, or the transmission refusing to shift smoothly. It feels like a major repair is around the corner, but in many cases, the problem isn't a broken part. It's the car's brain, the ECU, getting stuck with bad data. Over time, the ECU stores adjustments for fuel trims, idle, and shifting patterns. A weak battery, sensor glitch, or even poor quality fuel can cause it to mislearn. When that happens, your car feels like it's working against you. A full ECU hard reset wipes away the confusion and gives the system a clean slate. Steps to perform an ECU hard reset. Disconnect both the positive and negative battery cables. Touch the cable ends together for about 30 seconds to drain any leftover power. Reconnect the cables tightly to the battery. Start the engine and let it idle for 10 minutes without touching the throttle. This process forces the ECU to forget its corrupted memory and relearn factory defaults. Most drivers notice the check engine light clears, fuel economy improves, and the car runs smoother almost immediately. But the ECU isn't the only computer learning as you drive. Your transmission has its own memory, and when that goes out of sync, it causes a whole different set of headaches. You're still here, which means you're serious about protecting your car and your wallet. Smash that like button and subscribe to stay ahead with more proven fixes and secrets every driver should know. Reset 7. Transmission reset. Ever felt your car slam into gear or hesitate awkwardly before shifting? Maybe it downshifts too early on the highway or seems to hunt for the right gear in city traffic. These are classic signs your transmission's adaptive memory has gone out of sync. Modern transmissions constantly learn your driving habits to adjust shift timing and smoothness. But after a dead battery, stop and go driving, or years of wear, the computer can store bad patterns that make the gearbox feel clunky. A simple reset can clear that memory and teach your transmission to shift like new again. Steps to reset the transmission. Turn the key to on without starting the engine. With your foot firmly on the brake, slowly move the shifter through each gear. Park, reverse, neutral, drive, pausing briefly at each position. Leave it in drive for about 30 seconds, then return to park. Start the car, drive gently, and allow the transmission to relearn over the next 10 minutes. After this reset, most drivers notice smoother shifts, reduced hesitation, and more predictable performance. It feels like the car finally understands how you want it to drive. But even with perfect shifts, a rough or wandering idle can make your car feel unreliable. And that's exactly where the next reset comes in. Reset 6. Idle air control reset. You pull up to a stoplight and instead of idling smoothly, your engine shakes, surges, or even stalls. Sometimes the idle races higher than normal. Other times it dips so low you think the car will die out. This usually points to the idle air control system being out of sync. It happens after cleaning the throttle body, disconnecting the battery, or simply when the car's computer loses track of how much air the engine needs at idle. The good news is you don't need to replace anything. Just reset the idle air control so it can relearn the correct airflow. Steps to reset the idle air control. Start the car with all accessories. AC, radio, lights, turned off. Let the engine idle undisturbed for about 5 minutes. Now switch on the AC and headlights and let it idle for another 5 minutes. Turn everything off again and take the car for a short drive to help the ECU finalize its adjustments. Once done, your idle should settle down. Smooth, steady, and responsive to load changes like when you switch the AC on. No more embarrassing stalls at intersections or shaky vibrations at every red light. But while idle problems are annoying, nothing feels worse than seeing your airbag light stay on. That's where the next reset comes in. Reset 5. Airbag light reset. You start your car and notice the airbag light stays on. Instantly, you worry about safety. Are the airbags disabled? Or is it just a glitch? More often than not, it's the latter. A weak battery, a temporary sensor hiccup, or even disconnecting the seats while cleaning the interior can trigger that warning light. While a serious fault should always be checked by a professional, A simple reset often clears false alarms and restores peace of mind. Steps to reset the airbag light. Turn the key to the on position and wait for the airbag light to illuminate. As soon as the light switches off, turn the key back to off immediately. Repeat this process 3 to 4 times in a row. Finally, start the car normally and check if the light clears. If the light was caused by a temporary glitch, it will disappear after this reset, and your airbags remain fully active and ready if you ever need them. It's a relief knowing the warning was only a system hiccup rather than a costly repair. But while the airbag light can be unsettling, poor fuel economy can hit your wallet just as hard. That's where the next reset comes into play. If you've made it this far, you already know how much money these simple resets can save. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss more tips that keep your car running smoother, longer, and for free. Reset 4. Fuel trim reset. You've been filling up more often than usual, even though your driving habits haven't changed. The car feels a bit sluggish, and the fuel gauge seems to drop faster than it used to. This often happens because the engine computer has stored long-term fuel trim values that are no longer accurate. Things like a clogged air filter, weak fuel quality, or a sensor glitch can cause the ECU to compensate by adding or reducing fuel. Over time, those bad adjustments stick, robbing you of both performance and MPG. Resetting the fuel trims wipes the slate clean and allows the system to relearn the correct settings. Steps to reset the fuel trims. Disconnect the negative battery cable and leave it off for about 30 minutes. Reconnect the battery and make sure all connections are snug. Start the car and let it idle for a few minutes without touching the accelerator. Take it for a short drive at varying speeds, city and highway, to help the ECU relearn proper fuel delivery. After this reset, many drivers notice better throttle response, stronger acceleration, and improved fuel economy. It's like giving your car a fresh start at balancing power and efficiency. But while fuel economy is important, steering issues can make driving downright unsafe. That's why the next reset focuses on power steering. Reset 3. Power steering reset for EPS cars. You jump into your car, start it up, and suddenly the steering feels heavy, stiff, or even inconsistent. On some turns, it resists more than usual, while on others, it seems fine. If your vehicle uses electric power steering, this can happen after a dead battery, a jump start, or even a simple disconnect of the terminals. The steering control module loses calibration, leaving the wheel feeling off. Instead of rushing to the shop, you can reset the system yourself and bring back the easy, predictable steering you're used to. Steps to reset electric power steering. Turn the ignition to on, but don't start the engine. Slowly turn the steering wheel all the way to the left and hold for about 5 seconds. Then turn it fully to the right and hold for another 5 seconds. Return the wheel to the center position, then start the engine. After this reset, the steering assist usually comes back to normal. Light at low speeds, firm at higher speeds, and responsive overall. It feels like you've just freed the system from a stubborn glitch. But if your steering feels fine and yet another light on the dash starts glowing after a new battery install, the issue may be with your car's battery management system. That's the focus of the next reset. Reset 2. Battery management system. Reset. You've just replaced your car battery, but now strange things start happening. Your stop-start system stops working, the charging voltage looks odd, or warning lights pop up on the dash. Modern vehicles track battery condition through a battery management system, or BMS. When you install a new battery without telling the car's computer, it still thinks the old, weak battery is there. That mismatch confuses the charging system and can even shorten the life of your new battery. Resetting the BMS teaches the car to recognize the fresh battery and charge it correctly. Steps to reset the battery management system. With the ignition turned to on, press the brake pedal and hold it down. While holding the brake, press the accelerator pedal fully and hold for about 10 seconds. Release both pedals, turn the ignition off, then start the car normally. Let the engine idle for a few minutes so the system can confirm the reset. Once complete, your car's charging and stop-start features should return to normal. The system now knows it's working with a healthy battery, giving you longer battery life and more reliable performance. But if your car still refuses to start or shows a flashing security light, the problem may be with the key and immobilizer system. And that's where the final reset comes in. Reset 1. Key fob and immobilizer reset. You hop in your car, turn the key, and nothing. Or maybe the dash shows a flashing security light and the engine won't even try to crank. Before panicking, know this. It's often not a broken starter or dead engine. It's your immobilizer system or key fob losing sync with the car. This happens after a weak battery, replacing a key, or even from electrical glitches. The immobilizer is designed to protect your car from theft, but when it misreads your key, it locks you out of your own vehicle. A reset can re-establish that connection without an expensive dealer visit. Steps to reset the key fob and immobilizer. Insert the key and turn it to the ON position, but don't start the engine. Leave it in that position for about 10 minutes, or until the security light stops flashing. Turn the key back to off and wait at least 10 seconds. Repeat this cycle 3 times in total. On the final cycle, start the car normally. If the issue was just a lost sync, the engine should fire up and the security light will stay off. It's like handing the car and key a fresh handshake, restoring trust between them. And there you have it. 11 car reset tricks that can save you from unnecessary repairs and bring your car back to life without spending a dime. If you found this guide helpful, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more mechanic-approved tips, and drop a comment below to let me know which reset worked for you. And don't stop here. Check out our next video where we share secret tips to make your engine run like new. You don't want to miss it.